Yeah, I'm not liking that Old Forester, so I'm probably going to have that, and then I'm going to start drinking my beer.
Okay, we can do that too.
Damn it, I always do that right before I do the intro. Welcome to Ford Dram and Goal. Oh, I'm fucking shit. Hold on. I've been drinking now.
We might keep that one too.
Welcome to Ford Dram and Goal, where today we're going to talk about drinking some brown water, and we're going to be your poor Scott Van Pelt and
Scott Van Pelt? Well, not Pelt.
Scott Van Pelt.
And Mike Golick.
All right. Welcome to Ford Dram and Goal, where tonight we are going to be drinking some brown water, and I'm going to be your poor man Scott Van Pelt, and we've got a poor ass Rick Golick. I'm your host, Kurt, and my co-host, fucking shit, shut the fuck up. Oh, God dang, we can't have 2 weeks in a row where I look like a fucking idiot doing the intro. All right. You know what? Welcome to the show. All right. We're going to drink brown water. We're going to be shitty fucking sports hosts. So sit back and enjoy.
Or don't.
Do the music.
All right, so like our fearless leader, Scott Van Pelt, a.k.a. Kurt, went ahead and kicked us off. We are going to drink some brown water today. I want to kick that off with Kurt. Tell us a little bit about what's in your glass, sir.
What I've got in my glass tonight, and I'm going to do my, I promise you, we'll talk about our first episode in a little bit, but I'm really going to try, not to sound like Howard Cosell with a sinus infection tonight, because I think I did that a lot. I'm not going to try to do too much change. Tonight I got Old Forester 1870 in my glass, and
how's that treating
you? I gave it a couple weeks to open up because honestly I wasn't a fan first time I had it, but it hasn't grown on me too much. It for a 90 proof, man, that alcohol taste is there. It's got some kick to it for a 90 proof. I'm not so sure that I'm going to enjoy this glass the rest of the night, but it's okay. There's some whiskeys, some bourbons that I call it a Scotch funk. Does that make any sense?
Totally. Yeah, get a little grassiness in there. Yeah, little pseudo peatiness, but none of the fun stuff.
But no, I did let it sit for a little bit. It's got some honey, some of the classics, oak, burnt oak a little bit, but that alcohol smells really taking it over. And then on the taste, a good strong start of honey, but then it's got that big alcohol kick that I'm just not a fan of. But it is bourbon at the end of the night, so I will continue drinking it. Dick, what do you got? Lay it on me.
I'll lay on my big wood here. I've got Four Roses single barrel. I've actually had this bottle for a year or so, and I'm about to kill it tonight. I'm kind of going a cabinet clear out, and this is one that I always look at. Pretty little bottle, and I know I can get it anytime I want to get it, so I want to make room for some more special stuff.
Nice.
It's a good one. I mean, I think anybody should drink Four Roses. I wouldn't go with the yellow label. I would go with the single label, the small batch. I think you get some more select stuff. It's not just what your granddad drank. And on the nose, cinnamon, vanilla, spice. I get like a dusty corn thing going on with it too. The weirdest thing though that I've never picked up before, and it may be because I was watching some videos and they called this out, but I get like this aloe, menthol leaf, like refreshing flavor on the nose, and I don't know, it's weird. It may be just because I picked it up off of someone else talking about it. I was like, oh yeah, that's there. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
maybe your pale ass still has some sunscreen on from earlier because you are a pasty son of a bitch.
Dude, don't even get me into the story where I asked my wife to lick my beard because I tasted something weird.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to get into that story. Don't even have to ask me. I'll stop you right there.
But on the taste, there's no lilac.
Lilac.
There is lilac.
Lilac. And for our viewers who are probably 95% of our population, what the fuck is lilac?
Lilac is a flower. And when you look up the flavor palette of a lilac,
yeah, because I do that all the time.
Well, I mean, words come to your brain and you look them up. That's what I do. It's like a fate citrus with more like a lemony bite or taste on it, kind of like faint.
All right.
It's probably the most interesting thing into it. Other than that, I mean, it's classic. It's oak, cinnamon, spice. Nothing too crazy. Once again, it's a well-rounded bourbon. I mean, I'm gonna recommend it to everybody.
Yeah, you're not gonna go wrong if you pick up any Four Roses for that matter.
I don't know. I really don't like that yellow label.
Well, once again, it probably reminds you of your fucking pasty skin. But anyway, I've actually been given a bottle of Four Roses as a like I'm gonna throw it down the drain, so take it or leave it. So I took it, and it's just one of those things. I guess different strokes, different folks, and it's funny how that works. Thank you for not inserting a stroking joke at that point.
I was gonna do that after.
That's why I got beat you to the punch. So, what do you think of the first episode, man?
I think it went good. I do want to say I admit something though before we go there. I did do my first strain pour this weekend. I had that redemption rum cask finish, and this one I got screwed on by the special shelf. Yeah, don't get that. It's like white and has green flowers on it. I should have known better.
Yeah, probably. But I like the way I talked about our first episode and you went to a drain pour, so it makes a lot of sense. I'll tell you this. We have new equipment. We got the first exhibition out of the way. I think we're going to do a lot better because when I went back and I listened to it, I mean, you're talking, well, I wouldn't say we fucking sucked, but I'm talking like third string quarterback got like the majority of the game. It was rough at times. And you know, for our listeners, we're not going to be right all the time, aka Dick completely forgetting who Robert Horry was because he made if you win 3 championships with, you know, 3 different teams, you're the GOAT. And then, you know, the next morning I jumped out of bed. Big shot Rob. Anybody forget about that guy? So
I did.
Yeah, we got the first one out of the way. It's always good to do that. It's all downhill after that. But we will continue to improve, I think. All right.
I think we'll improve and then we'll regress as we keep drinking more. That's typically how it goes.
We'll see. So what are we talking first, Dick?
All right. Well, I think after this weekend's Georgia-Bama game, there's a few other good ones last weekend too. Talk about A&M a little bit. The biggest piece though is Big Ten coming back, and that's where we'll kick it off. Is just some college football segment. Kick it off with the Big Ten is coming back. Do they have any threats? And frankly, do we give a shit?
I like the way you put that in there because sometimes you don't, especially when it comes to Big Ten. But if we're talking any threats, man, I mean, it's going to be your classic Ohio State, Michigan. A big one to start the season as I'm watching this just ass kicking on Monday Night Football. We didn't even talk about that. We've got a good Texas shootout here. Well, it's supposed to be a shootout, but the Cardinals are just laying it on your boys, man. Kyler Murray just doesn't lose in that stadium, and he's going against Mr. Katy, Texas, Andy Dalton.
I'm sorry, did you want to talk about pro football after last weekend?
No, I just wanted to have a chance to mention the Cowboys are getting their asses kicked. I couldn't mess that up.
Okay, you didn't want to talk about blowing a massive lead to the fucking Titans in overtime? No?
I am okay with that because I would have just got my hopes up at 2-4. So backfired on you. Suck one. So back to college football. Interesting matchup. Nebraska, don't know shit about them because, you know, last year was supposed to be a big year. They start with Ohio State this Saturday. Any chances on an upset there?
Fuck no. No chances. No, but fuck no. And then let's also double that down with, when's the last time you knew the starting quarterback for a Nebraska team?
It's Adrian Martinez, motherfucker. You know why I know that?
Yeah, I want to know why. Because it sounds like useless Jeopardy information.
No. It's because when I once had aspirations of being a head coach, I was a Scott Frost fanboy. So I do happen to check up on the Nebraska Cornhuskers every now and then. And I don't think they're going to have a chance at winning. I think Ohio State, and Justin Fields are just going to come out pissed off because they've had to sit waiting for like 2 months. And I don't see it being an upset this weekend. But speaking of Scott Frost, what do you think? You think he makes it after this year? Okay, well, let me rephrase that. What do they have to do for him to stay?
That's a hard question to answer. I don't know. I think that Scott Frost had such high hopes and high aspirations coming to this Nebraska job.
Hell yeah. Cue the P. Diddy I'm Coming Home music if we had copyright.
For sure. But we'll see if we can get him. I'm just fucking around. The biggest thing is I don't feel like it's his fault. I really don't. I mean, he's inherited a team that had, in my opinion, shit talent. I don't, frankly, keep up with the Big Ten too terribly much, but what I do keep up with, Nebraska's been irrelevant for 6-7 years now. So I don't feel like it's his fault. I think either you give him the chance to actually rebuild the program, or you put him, in the hot seat. I don't know if I would proof him over 100 right now. They may come out and surprise us all, but I just don't feel like, even if he does get canned, I don't feel like he's going to fall far. He'll pick up a solid OC job somewhere.
Man, I hope so. Nebraska's like Miami. As much as you hate them, college football is much better when those teams are doing good. I mean, maybe that's my 90s child coming back out, but I just think it's a lot better. So if we're sticking to Big Ten, is there anybody else to keep an eye on besides Ohio State?
Yeah, I don't think you can ever draw. You can count out Penn State. They're always going to be solid. James Franklin's doing a hell of a job with them. I don't think they ever really dropped off even after Bill O'Brien left. So they're always going to be a contender. They're always going to be that second-ranked Georgia to SEC's to Alabama. But they do have the chance, and they have before. Ohio State in the ass.
Nice. All right, so let's talk about some teams that have had some games already under their belt, and I will. And you see, man, I was going to take a shot at you earlier. You said shitty teams, and I was going to hit you with speaking of shitty teams, but I can't do it right now because they're actually doing pretty good. How are your boys A&M? Are they realistically, are they a threat? Are they going to keep it going? What do you think?
Dude, every weekend, I think I'm going to have to cry myself to sleep. So maybe it's just the life of being an A&M fan where you just
What are you talking about? You should be sipping some champagne the last 2 weeks, man.
Dude, Florida's an overrated squad. I'm sorry. They're overrated going into that game.
Insert the I told you so.
I didn't say you didn't tell me so. I think a lot of us said that. It comes back to, let's be honest, fucking rankings don't mean shit. In a normal season, the first 5 weeks of the year. So you can't tell me Florida's legitimately the number 4 team in the nation. And even after we did beat them, they were still ranked above us. I know it's AP, but fucking bigger deal here is you've got some great weapons. You've got with A&M on the offensive side of the ball. You've got a decent defense. Normally I wouldn't say it's SEC caliber, but look at the SEC defense the last few weeks, and I would say they're beyond SEC caliber at this point. But the biggest problem, the X factor here, is not Fisher. It's not Fisher at all. It's that Mond on some days is pinpoint accurate in the Florida game, and then
old
Jim Bob, 10 years, $100 million. Yep. You can call me whatever you want for that much money.
Jimbo, I owe all my success to Bobby Bowden Fisher. Nice.
Fair enough, and Nick Saban, but yeah.
Fuck that.
We get down that track again. But what I was going to finish with is an problem with A&M and why you never know what they're going to do and why they can't be consistent is Kellen Mond some days is right on point and other days can't hit the broadside of a barn.
Dude, okay. So yeah, that, not to cut you off, but I did. Because the segment, I was waiting, like, how far into the segment is he going to talk about Kellen Mond? Dude, I was not a believer. I have not been a believer, but, props to the guy. Yeah, this last week was 139, 2 touchdowns against Mississippi State. But, dude, 2 weeks before that, you got 338, 3 touchdowns against Florida, and 318, 3 touchdowns against the Alabama. I think he's. It's taken a while, but I think he's hit his stride. Am I overhyping him?
No, but look who did their homework. Good job. You're not overhyping him. He's just fucking RoboCop out there, dude. Dude is on rails.
Can't do anything good around here. God damn it.
I want Haynes King. I want Haynes King.
I had that memorized. First off,
sure you did.
No, the only thing I'll say about A&M is, I mean, dude, that SEC schedule, which everyone knows, is brutal. But you take a look at their schedule. I mean, you got Arkansas next week or the week after. I don't know. They're at South Carolina and at Tennessee, who Tennessee is once again one of those teams. They won a couple games and everyone was hyping that up. Turns out, what do you know? They're just the same old Tennessee from the last so many years. They're going to get the Lane Train in a couple weeks. They've got to go over there for that. They've got the LSU Tigers, which right now are no bueno. And then, of course, they end the year against a other preseason overrated Auburn team. Dude, I checked it out. I did do my research. None of those teams have a winning record right now. So your boys, they got a shot.
They got a shot, but Alabama's gonna sweep the table, dude. They're gonna go to town, and they already beat us, so they're gonna take the spot. We don't have we're in the West with them. Be lucky if we get a fucking Citrus Bowl or a Gator Bowl or something out of this year. I could see us losing 2 games. Probably going to lose to fucking Auburn or LSU at the end. But to your point, the rest of the teams are, I won't say hot garbage, but pretty close.
At the end of the day, you're still A&M, so
we'll find a way to choke.
I'll leave it at that. So you're talking about the Bama Georgia game, which I did catch it, and it was a really good game for the first 3 quarters. Is Bama? What do you think?
Yes, Bama's Bama. Bama's Bama. I mean, they've got a system quarterback with an amazing stable of receivers and backs around him. And they've got Bama's defense. I mean, you can't lose. You can't. It's impossible.
What about when they play Sunshine?
See, you're gonna give me a whole rant about system quarterbacks, and I know we don't agree on this, so I'll ask you: is Clemson Clemson?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, what's changed? They have the guy, the dude. I've only lost 1 game to the other dude, Joe Burrow. He's hands down the Heisman front runner. He's hands down gonna win the Heisman. I mean, what's there to say about Trevor Lawrence? Did you not see that? I know I'm going to say the words Georgia Tech, and it's going to kind of skew the story a little bit, but did you not see that performance this weekend?
Well, I mean, they just lived up to their name. They're a fucking rambling wreck, right? So, yeah, I watched it. I watched pieces of it that were entertaining.
Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
You know who was entertaining? Trevor Lawrence.
So, is Clemson good because of Trevor Lawrence, or is Clemson just Clemson?
Well, no, but, I mean, LSU wasn't just LSU because of Joe Burrow.
See, that's where I disagree. Because if you look at that...
Oh, there we go. I got it. Here we go. I was fishing. Come on. Lay it on me, Dick.
If you look at that LSU team, they had, 17 starters either graduate or go to the draft or opt out.
Okay, so who went number 1?
Yeah, we know. Burrow did. I mean...
Okay.
But that's because we have a quarterback-obsessed league.
So it's his fault, and it's Trevor Lawrence's fault that they happen to have a great supporting cast?
No, not at all. But that's what makes them...
So they can't be badasses?
No, I didn't say they weren't badasses. I didn't say that they weren't good quarterbacks. But
Sounded
they are
like you did, Dick.
But, Kurt, they are not your boy, Patrick Mahomes. They're not.
Oh, okay. Well, come on. Not everyone's going to be...
come on.
Not everyone's going to be not everyone's going to be the GOAT, you know.
Oh, okay. All right, let's pump the brakes on that one, buddy.
I meant the GOAT of Lubbock. All right.
There is a difference with playmakers and stars and system quarterbacks. What's this last?
Put it this way.
No. Hold up. What's the last solid quarterback that you're like, that guy's going to be a fucking star that came out of the SEC?
The SEC?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know, some guy by the name of Tua.
No. He's not a
Don't
star yet. Nope.
don't even get me started on that. Him
Don't
sitting on the field. Oh, I haven't drank enough whiskey to get the tears running down my face right now. But I don't know, man. I mean, Joe Burrow. I mean, he's
He's
looking
not a
pretty
star.
good through a couple weeks.
He's 1-4. No, he's 1-3-1.
I tell you, who wasn't a star? Johnny Manziel. Okay, moving on to the next question on our topic. All right, we'll keep going since we are, like we said, two boys from the state of Texas. We have to talk about the other state team. What's going to happen to Tom Herman? I think to the point, like I literally saw an article for potential replacements. Is he out the door, man?
I hope not. I love watching this dumpster fire burn every week.
Oh, reverse. Got it. I was like, oh my gosh, we actually agreed. I love Tom Herman. I've heard him speak a couple times. Not that that means anything, but I think he's a great coach. I've actually seen their practices. It's a fun atmosphere. I don't know what the problem is. You know, those are probably internal things that we just won't know. Honestly, you got a Sugar Bowl victory. I don't think that's enough for UT, but I think like you said about Scott Frost, I think he's fighting other battles. I think he's fighting really high expectation, and I just don't think the Big 12 is one of those leagues anymore where you just kick ass and you're the dude. You know, you've got Oklahoma every year, which even this year, as much of a dump fire that those two teams are, that was a hell of a game. And then within the last decade, TCU has stepped up. Baylor's gone hot, cold throughout the 10 years. Texas Tech just decided, like, I'm going to take the last 8 years off, but moving on. I just think he's battling high expectations because then you ask the question, like, okay, if not Tom Herman, then who? Because even if you're looking at it, Jimbo's entering what? What is this year? What?
3.
Okay. Let's say Jimbo. Let's say they end up with 3 losses. All right. I just don't. I mean, who do you get? Because when it was A&M's time to get Jimbo, they had to get him because there was nobody else. Who does UT go after?
Well, you're not going to get Jimbo's a different situation, right? We overpaid $10 million in 10 years, right? And we're never going to beat that. I don't think that anybody other than Saban, when they're looking for Herb, and there's rumors about that, I don't think there's any other coach out there. I don't think you're going to pull Dabo away. You're not going to find, in my opinion at least, a top-tier coach in a situation like Fisher was at Florida State, where he was ready to be done. He had done his work. He had put his time in, and he was like, I'm ready for my payday. I just don't know if there's a coach out there. There's a few that are good, solid coaches. And I would say that Herman was in that same class when they found him. But the great coaches are not bought. The great coaches are bred.
Jimbo
was bred. But he was in a weird situation. I look at, and this is my thing, is I try not to be a Herman hater, but I'm not a big fan of anybody that comes out of Ohio State, period. You're part of that program, can't stand you. It's just my nature, and I don't know, I have an affliction for that.
It's rough. No, yeah. I joke about Jimbo, but, I mean, he's obviously doing good things now. I do think, like you said, bought. I think UT is one of those places that you can give enough money to somebody to kind of get them out of their situation. I can't, thinking of coaches right now, the name that you've heard a couple of times, and I just don't see it happening, is Urban Meyer.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because then, how long are you getting him for?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. But that'll be interesting to see. It's just sad that, you already see the articles. Who's next? Who are the potential candidates? And like I said, I think that's just the expectations that go with UT. I mean, at the end of the day, what do we have? What do they have? One national championship in the last
since 72, other than the 2005, 72, I think.
And honestly, that took a Vince freaking Young that was
a generational talent.
Exactly. All right. Well, then before we move on, because you got to answer the question, who would Texas go get?
I think there's one coach out there that could really do the job, and he has a top 10, I think, still team right now, probably in a situation where you can nab him. His name is Mac Brown. And, it may be worth trying to go get him out of his situation. He may want to come to Texas.
One problem there.
What is that?
What's Texas's response when Mac Brown says, fuck you for running me out of town? Did we not? Is that just, or we just gonna forget about that little part?
I mean, let's be honest. We all have a dollar amount. Will anybody fuck us?
But, his age, man. Is he going to even know what that dollar amount means?
Hey, tell that to the AP right now, man. I mean,
you're wishful hoping there, buddy. I don't even.
Oh, I'm not wishful hoping. I wouldn't. That would be my Christmas present. I think it would be so much karma. Everybody within Texas be like, "Hey, you thought Charlie Strong was gonna be better? Oh, you thought Tom Herman was gonna be better? Let's go back to old granddaddy."
Yeah, I'm not even gonna waste my time giving you a Texas candidate because I honestly, one, I can't think of one, and two, I just don't care at the end of the day. But moving on, let's get to some whiskey because we've talked quite a bit of sports. I'm going to throw a name at you, and you kind of tell me, what is that coach drinking? What do you think? So here's the first one. The pirate, the genius, the legend. What is in Mike Leach's cup, Dick? Lay it on me.
So the man who has not ever played in his life a down of football, yet is arguably one of the best offensive minds, I would say, in recent football history. I think this guy has such a eclectic feel, an eclectic vibe. You think about him actually teaching some fucking class at Washington State. Do you remember what class it was?
I don't know. Pirate 101. Who gives a shit?
Anyways, so I think when you talk about historical and fine tuning and that sort of thing, I'll get to the fucking point already. I think he's drinking High West. I think he's actually drinking High West Midwinter's Night Dram specifically. I've recently become a fan of High West's products. I've drank in the past, but when you talk about someone that really takes the time and the knowledge, and it really is an art. And Mike Leach is a mad scientist, and I would believe the guys at High West are too.
Ooh, I like that. And you know what? Fun fact for you, not to show how much I've stalked Mike Leach over the years, read his books and stuff, but BYU, his alma mater, is in the fine state of Utah, where they happen to make High West. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong. They are in Utah as well. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, that's just one thing that I did not know until, you become a nerd of this thing. You see High West. It's got the southern Texas look, blah, 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 but nope, turns out it's from Utah.
So then let's go a different direction. Going away from a mad scientist to someone I don't think you would ever call a scientist, Mr. Ed O out of LSU. What do you think Big Papa's drinking?
Are you telling me I get to use the Ed voice twice in one episode?
Lay it on me.
Oh, okay, now. Well, at the end of the day, all right, we're going to drink something fun. We're going to drink something to get the party started. And we're going to get something that just looks dirty by the end of 4 quarters. You know what we're drinking? I don't even know if that's a good editor on, but I think I'm nailing it.
I'm going to give you a solid 4 out of 10 because I could hear you and understand you too well.
All right. Ed Ogeron is drinking some Southern Comfort. That's in his class, baby. You're there for the party. You're there to have some fun. It's going to get the job done. At first, you're skeptical. At first, you're like, oh, is this the one? But then it grows on you. And then by the end of the night, you've got yourself a national championship, because I've never seen anybody who had a bad night with Southern Comfort. Unfortunately, you're going to wake up the next morning, a.k.a. the next season, and it's going to be ugly, and it's not going to feel so good. So, at the end of the night, go Tigers.
On that point, what's a bottle of SoCo running right now?
Like, I don't know, $3.99.
I think that's for the case. I think that's a case sale.
Right? Honestly, I bought SoCo the first time just because I got a Ed Hardy looking T-shirt.
Oh, insert
Which,
jokes.
first off, when's the last time you've heard Ed Hardy?
I thought you were just tying it in because of that. Oh,
no, like that was the first. That was I bought a bottle of SoCo because it came with this Ed Hardy looking shirt, and I probably
jeans with
yeah, the same ones that you two step in. That was a solid comeback. Thank you. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, that was the first. And then I was like, oh, damn, this is good. And then maybe like the third time I got it was when I woke up the next morning and had potentially like a high sugar attack and maybe possibly needed to be rushed to the hospital. But like I said, it got the job done.
So it puts you into a insulin deprivation, correct? Cool.
Gotcha. Yeah, but here's the thing, man. You throw SoCo with anything, is it not delicious? Tell me something you mix with cocoa. Sorry, fourth dram of the night. Tell me something you mix with SoCo and it's not good.
Diabetes.
See, and I was going to go there, but then I was like, I don't want to offend our fans with diabetes, and seeing that the only people that have listened to the show are my parents, yeah, so. And we just lost them, so.
All right. So let's get a little bit classier than that. Let's go to the same conference, the same division, but someone who's a little bit more refined, a little bit more put on, frankly, a lot of bit richer. What is Nick Saban drinking?
Oh, well, first question. Is Nick Saban the greatest college football coach of all time?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any argument between all time and maybe just our time that we've got to see him, or are you thinking solid like he's the GOAT?
I think people have argued this enough. I mean, they always try to put him next to Bear Bryant, and at a certain point, he passed Bear Bryant. So,
okay. Well, if I'm thinking, I mean, it's too easy. He's sipping in that big office. He's inviting Belichick over so they can just sit in their piss of greatness and just sit there with their big football brains. And I mean, honestly, they've got a glass of Pappy Van Winkle, 23-year-old. I mean, am I wrong?
I don't think so. I think they probably buy by the case. Why would you not?
Oh, that just sounds like a life that I want to live, buddy. Well, then that's good. That's good timing. We talked about it last week. If you made it through the first podcast and got to this one, we said we had to devote a segment to Pappy 23, and I think this is the time. Nick Saban, the greatest, is drinking arguably the greatest whiskey. But is it the greatest whiskey, or is it just the show? I don't know. Do you want to take this one first?
Yeah, I'll take a crack at it. All right, so the question is, not so much is Pappy to go, right? The question is, if I'm understanding correctly, is Pappy worth it, right? Is it worth the hunt, the straight up dollar amount, and is it what you expect it to be? And I think it has such a lore behind it that at the end of the day, is it good whiskey? Of course it's good whiskey. What's the MSRP on 23 going to run? Should be right about, what, $2.99?
I've done a little research. I think I've actually seen it, and this could just be somebody throwing it out there. I saw 169 was the MSRP.
So I do believe that they just released the suggested MSRP for all the Pappy lines for this year. And I'm looking at it right now. Per their site, it is $299.99.
All right. Well, then I was a little outdated, but
that's okay. It's okay. But what I'm getting to is you're never going to find it for $2.99. It's just never going to happen. The only time you're ever going to get it is a secondary, and you're going to pay out the ass for it. We're talking thousands of dollars.
That one is another one I saw today. $3,399.
Yeah, it's a little outside my budget, just by a hair.
That was a lower one.
What was it, like a 15?
No, I mean that was a lower price range.
Ah, okay. And then the other place you're going to find it is going into, here in San Antonio, Bar 1919, here in the Texas area. You're going to go into a Whiskey Cake. They're going to have it. But you're going to be paying probably $100 a shot. It really depends where you're at. I mean, it could be more than that. A pour, not a shot. You're going to get about 1.5 to 2 ounces. So then you got to ask yourself that question at that price. I mean, is it worth it? I think once, yeah, I think it is. You've got to see what the hype's about. But is it worth it to go pay secondary, $3,000, $4,000 for a bottle that's something you've never had before? No way in hell. Just no way in hell.
So the question was, is it worth it? And I think you said, I think it's worth it once. And I've had this talk with another buddy of mine. We had that big talk, and he said, well, what is greater? And I really couldn't find the answer when it comes to taste. When it comes to taste, I will literally pick up every single expensive glass of whiskey and I'll try to compare it to that. Have I had better? Probably not. Have I had more rare? Yes, I've actually had more rare, believe it or not. But I think everybody, if you're getting into the bourbon game, if you're going to try to, really dig into it, I think you try it once. And I know that's hard to say for a glass, because I seriously doubt you're going to get a bottle. Go get a glass. Mm-hmm. I will say once, get a glass, whether it's your birthday, whether it's Christmas, find your local, Dick, you said a couple of great places. Find your local whiskey place, get one glass, because there's one or two things are going to happen. One, you're going to think it's delicious and you're going to compare everything else to it, which I do. Or two, you're going to say, son of a bitch, this is not that great, and at least I will never, ever have the, urge to look for a bottle and just hate my life because I can't get one. Right. So I think it's an experience. I think you do got to try a glass, but do your research. If you're paying for one pour over $200, you can do better.
I wouldn't pay over 100.
That's me. And see, that's the funny thing. I've paid 100, and I paid 100 twice.
You can get it for 100.
I think it's that good.
100%. I really, you made a great point. It's not rare, right? It's really not that rare. You used to be able to pick it up for MSRP 10, 15 years ago. The thing is, bourbon has just become so inflated, and there's such a lag on delivery from demand time. You're talking about it's 23 years old, right? The 23 apparently is supposed to come out. Pappies for allegedly this year are supposed to be we're talking everything from 10 through 23 are supposed to be put out in a bigger quantity this year. But it's still going to be impossible to find because the hype is there, right? The hype train is choo-choo, motherfucker, here it comes. But you made me really think about something. And you and I had that Pappy 23 at 1919, and it was like one of the first things I drank, like straight bourbon, right? I used to drink whiskey, but, vodka, tequila, all that fun stuff. But I think now, multiple years later, it would be worth trying again now that my palate has developed and I'm closer to really understanding what that moment means. And I would say that's probably something that I would recommend at least is try some mid-range bourbons. Try some of the stuff we're suggesting you can actually find on the shelf. Get yourself a little bit of a palate going, and then say, hey, my birthday's coming up in 3 months. Let me go to this restaurant and order Pappy 23. Let me see the hype's about. But don't let it be like the second thing you drink, because you're really not going to appreciate it.
And as sentimental as Vic got there, we did not sleep together that night, I promise you. So we just shared that one glass, and it was magical.
It was beautiful.
No, but no jokes. But like what you said, and then the cool thing about it is after you have that glass of Pappy 23, the cool thing is every time you go get another really good one, you're like, oh, dang, that's just as good. I've had a couple that I would even say are better, but we'll save that for another one. We need material to get past episode 2, so I'll save that. But yeah, I mean, it is the GOAT to many people. I'm at a restaurant the other day, and I probably, a guy sits next to me, and the first thing he asks, "What's your best one?" And even the bartender, who he's going to know more than me. He does that every night. He says, "To me, it's this one. To everyone else," and there he goes. He points at Pappy 23. So it is what it is. All right, let's start the third segment of the show. We're at about third dram and goal. Get it? See what we're doing there? We're going to talk more whiskey for our viewers. Like I said in the first podcast, our goal is to get you to walk into the store and buy something, and just so you kind of have a good time with it. So we're going to do a little segment. What are our best 3 options that each of us walk in the store, grab it? I'd say $30 or less, but maybe we'll have some there at about $30, maybe a little over $30, depending on what store you're going, and you'll see that a lot. So I will go ahead and let Dick start this off, buddy. Lay it on me.
Give him the heater.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, dude, it's from Major League. Come on.
All right. I got that. I just didn't understand.
I was going to say hitter, but I was like, no, let's give him the hitter.
Yeah. No marbles. Got it. Keep going.
All right. So I've got 3. If I took. Oh, my bad. All right. So if I understand the rules of the segment appropriately.
There's no fucking rules. Just give me your 3 best bottles at 3 and over or under.
I have some logic behind this motherfucker.
Damn it, Dick.
I'm trying to save some people some money. All right, let's say I got 3 for 30.
What are the rules?
There are no rules. All right. All right.
Moving on. As you can see, it is the third dram of the segment.
Ooh wee. Mamma mia. All right, so looking at my 3, I've got 2 that are substantially under 30, one that's about 5 to 10 over. I've got Evan Williams, Bottle in a Bond, my go-to, my secret sauce all day. I've actually got 2 or 3 bottles, even though you can pick it up at your local Specs, $15, $20. It is something I believe everybody should have in their cabinet. Second one I think everybody should have in their cabinet. Old Granddad 114. You heard me talk about it last time when we did the coaches in the hot seat. It's a solid hitter. If you're looking for what is going to make me a punchy Manhattan, a punchy old fashioned, that's going to be the one you're going to go with. Once again, I'm going to go 14 to 17 range. Pick it up. No questions asked. Just fucking pick it up. My little bit of classier one here. We talked about High West earlier. We talked about Mike Leach and his eclectic self. I really think that
eclectic. Eclectic. Sounds like a.
Sir, can you walk off the stage now?
Sorry. Sounds like an Irish person with a problem. Eclectic. Sorry, continue.
It's Celtic, but sure. So you talk about the mad scientist himself. I'm going to go with one of my new favorites. I picked up a second bottle, the High West American Prairie Bourbon. I have rarely picked up a whiskey with enough single taste that I significantly enjoyed it right off the bat. My neck pour had so much nice, fresh vanilla, cinnamon. It was just like sweet, golden, brown, amazing juice. And that is my recommendation right now.
So, no, I totally agree. I've had the Evan Williams, and I grabbed it for $14, $13.
Yeah, you should be right around there.
Yeah, it was spot on. Speaking of inserting jokes, all right, people, be mature here. It's high on the nutty side, but it's a good nutty. In fact, it's pretty heavy. Like, your glass will smell like it afterwards. But when you talk about those cheap bottles that have that high, like, ethanol, this one doesn't have it. It is a good bourbon.
And it's a bottled in bond, so it's at 100 proof, right? So it's a good one. It's funny you say nutty because I almost pick up like a cinnamon nutmeg kind of taste to it.
Nutmeg. Man, you were just all over the place with the the spice cabinet tonight, buddy. Florals.
Hey, by the way, off topic, I did buy that Etsy spice note thingy. It doesn't get.
Has it come in yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, we're gonna have a whole other conversation about that because I literally have. I think I literally have all those in my cabinet right now. But moving on.
But you don't have the cool plastic thing it all goes in.
That's true too. I'll have to stop at Hobby Lobby later and pick it up for like $3. No, but it is really good. And this was my specs guy, who's like my side piece. I heard him the other day talking to a guy, and he suggested it, and the guy was like, "But that's Evan Williams, isn't that?" I guess the guy was going to a party or something. And no, this is delicious. Like, that's up there. It is definitely better than some $30, $40 bottles. Don't expect a 50, 60. No. It's not, but it's very, very good.
It punches high above its weight class, for sure.
And I'll have to take your word for the Old Granddad and the High American Prairie Bourbon. So my three, and I didn't want to put this one in there because I talked about it so much last week. Yeah, I'm going to do it again. If anybody ever says I want to try a rye or what's the difference, I'm going to suggest Sazerac rye. Just for the fact that I've had it so many times. But the problem is, and I saw a post today of one of the bourbon pages. I don't know if it's the Buffalo Trace thing, but it was on sale for $89.99.
Oh, fuck that.
Right. And that's what it was basically saying. But if you see it for anywhere over 40, go to another store. Right now, you can get it for 28, 29. I've seen it 32, and I would probably still get it. But it's, like I said last week, you can put it with anything. It's great. I go to for my old-fashioned recipe, which we can save for later if you want to figure it out. But that's a big go-to for $30. You're going to get all the flavors. You're going to get the classic bourbon taste. You're going to get sweetness, not as heavy on the, heat because it's a rye. So I would give that one a try. My second suggestion actually was from a buddy. I had seen it on the shelf several times, and until he rated it very, very high. And then I actually saw it on heard it on another podcast, and that's Early Times Bottled in Bond.
Isn't that that's kind of like the Old Tub recommendation?
No, it's not.
No?
No. And the sad part is I've not had Old Tub.
I haven't either. I keep seeing it. People are like, it's great. And other people are like, no, it sucks ass.
No, see, that's the only, I haven't seen too many Early Times sucks ass comments. I've seen a lot of Old Tub sucks ass, but Early Times, it's good. And I let that one sit, and maybe in a later podcast we'll talk about bottles sitting, whether that matters or not. But this one I actually did sit. And does sitting mean maybe I was less drunk when I had it another time? Possibly. Because I was pretty shit-faced the first time I had it. But it was good, man. You had your classic oak, vanilla, a little bit of honey. I would actually put it over a lot of $30, $40 bottles. So yeah, I'm an Early Times fan now.
Well, and when you first got it, you definitely weren't, because I remember talking to you about it as you were drinking. You were like, it tastes like charcoal.
And that was a phone call, right?
Yep.
Okay, so then I was shit-faced when I had it the first time. Usually that's when the phone calls are made. So, yeah, no, not too many floral notes or anything like that. It's just your classic, oak, vanilla, caramel, classic bourbon taste.
I actually may take you up on that one because I avoided it based off of that phone call. But now I'm like, all right, maybe I'll do it. I'll
just wait till I get shit-faced again, and then I'll probably tell you it sucks. But and then my third recommendation is go get yourself a traditional. Go get yourself an old timer. This is easily plug-in Buffalo Trace, but I'm gonna, like I said, I don't want to keep repeating myself. Go Wild Turkey, man. You can't go wrong with an old traditional bottle of Wild Turkey. I'm a big fan. I've got it multiple times. You're talking what, 20 bucks?
So let's be specific on this. You talking Wild Turkey 101?
No,
No.
no. And if you're gonna go 100 proof, grab the early times. But if you're getting into the game, you're trying whiskey for the first time, or even if you're transitioning, I've been asked a couple times, like, hey man, I don't want to mix my whiskey. I don't want to drink it with ice. I want to drink it straight. Start with Wild Turkey. Give it a chance, because if you don't like traditional bourbon taste, starting with that, it's only going to get more complex from there. It's only going to get, more heat. So yeah, I'd say Wild Turkey. Just plain Jane.
I think it's all three solid picks. Like I said, I'll try the early times when you're not shitty. I will note, though, for the record, we have this segment planned out, and one distillery fits this segment so perfectly, and yet we did not pick it. And which one is that?
You're talking a whole distillery?
Jack Daniels.
Fuck. The only reason I didn't say Jack Daniels because didn't we do Jack Daniels last week?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember at this point.
Oh fuck. That's when you know we're heading to the 4th dram, folks. Well, fuck yeah. There's nothing wrong with Jack Daniels. If it was good for Mickey Blue Eyes, it's good for me. I live my life off that motto.
Insert joke. I like my steak raw.
There's no joking about Mickey Blue Eyes, you son of a bitch.
Oh, shit.
Frank Sinatra, baby.
So I want to reel us back in just to sports here a little bit. So we ended our last segment with you talking about Wild Turkey. Thanksgiving is not too far from us right now. I think it's about 5 weeks away. So going into the Turkey Bowl, strong point of the season, watching the Cowboys getting their ass kicked as usual. Let's talk football. Let's talk about your most underrated football player so far this season.
Oof. There's a lot of possible candidates on that. But the one that I'm going to think of, and I think it just may be because I saw him on the game of the week last night. I guess it was midday. I'm going to go back and forth because, I don't want to go Tannehill. I think Tannehill, he did the whole underrated thing last year. I think you expected him to be decent this year. And they had a whole segment today on him. I'm going to go Ronald Jones from Tampa Bay. And the only reason I'll say that now is because I saw him yesterday, fresh on my mind. Everyone's talking Brady, everybody's talking Gronk. You got Mike Evans on that team. You picked up Leonard Fournette. You think everything's going to be great. People, of course, are talking Super Bowl. Well, then they hit a bumpy road. Lost the first game, lost to the freaking Big Dick and the Bears last week. Well, I mean, the last 2 weeks he's put some solid numbers together. Yesterday he had like 113 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns against the Packers. And then the week before, even though they lost, he had 106 against the Bears, and he had 111 against the Chargers. He is slowly becoming a huge part of that offense. Totally saw him, on the fantasy waiver a couple weeks ago and was like, oh, who's this guy? Should have picked him up because, as you know, I have Drake on my offense, who I'm just like, get the fuck out of here by this point.
But who picked him up? Do you remember?
Some dickhead that.
Yeah.
Know how to do fantasy.
I want to say it was the old commish there. I think his name's, I think you're right. It's Dick. And he toppled out with 26 points this week. So
yeah. How many times did you Google how do I fantasy draft before we drafted?
I mean, I Googled how do you podcast a lot. So
Well, apparently we didn't do so good at that. So, anyway.
Hey, it's luck of the draw.
No, I'm going to go Ronald Jones. Underrated. Is there probably other candidates? Absolutely. But I like I said, I saw him yesterday. He's putting together some solid numbers. I can't even tell you how many handoffs Leonard Fournette got yesterday. So yeah, that's my choice. What about you, Dick?
So I thought about this probably a bit more than I should, probably overanalyze it a little bit. Probably realized it wasn't that big a surprise to most people. Kurt over here already said I overthink my fantasy quite a bit. So
it's not hard to overthink when you just fucking read every article there is. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Darren Waller. I think you look at this kid, he's been in the league, 5 years now?
From the Oakland Raiders. Believe it or not, that was not an Ed Ogeron attempt again.
Mine wasn't either, but it sounded pretty bad. Anyway, 2019, he actually did really well after being in the league for 4 years and basically getting suspended for one of those 4. Not basically, he did get suspended.
Oh, the Hard Knocks guy.
Yeah. The Hard Knocks guy.
Gotcha.
Now you know all of his stats.
Yeah.
All right. So last year he had 90 receptions, over 1,100 yards, 3 touchdowns. This year, I think what really turned my attention to him was that breakout game. I think he had in week 3, where he had 12 receptions for over 100 yards and a TD. And he pulled our boy C-Jax out of the fucking oblivion. No chance in hell he was going to win that game. Pulled him out, and he actually pulled out a fantasy win. I think he was down by 20 plus points going into that night off a fucking tight end performance. So my vote, Darren Waller.
Hard Knocks, right?
Hard Knocks.
Gotta love you some John Gruden, man.
Dude, how can you not? You got Chucky.
Knock on wood if you're with me, man. Yeah, no, that was a great pick. But I think, dude, you talk about a fucking sweet ass setup. That new stadium may be the only reason that I want to go to Vegas. I mean, that place looks legit, but I don't think we get a lot of Raiders coverage out here. So yeah, I can see him being under the radar.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, it wasn't until this year we picked up Red Zone, or I bought Red Zone, so that's why I've been watching him play off anything.
Rich boy.
Yeah, $11, guys. $11 if you get YouTube TV. Don't be a son of a bitch about it.
Well, it's a lot more than people are going to pay for my podcast, that's for sure. Okay, well we've got to talk about it. Just ended last night. First game is tomorrow. We've got some big baseball. We've got the World Series coming up.
Are we going to talk about the Braves choking?
Oof, dude, too soon. The city of Atlanta.
The city. I mean, gotta love Atlanta. Hot Atlanta. Great times there. Sports teams choke artists, though.
Hot Atlanta. Just not hot in the fourth quarter.
Give up that big lead.
Yeah. So
maybe don't go back.
I'm not going to pretend like I've just been watching a shitload of baseball lately. But
why would you?
Whoa.
Why would you? You have the NFL and you have the NBA Finals or NBA playoffs at the same time, and NHL. Let's talk about, out of the 4 sports, which one is the
Okay. So I do love hockey, and that is a rare thing around here. But really, you're going to throw hockey in over baseball?
Yeah, dude.
Look, just because you don't know shit about baseball doesn't mean
I know a lot about baseball.
That's a whole other conversation. Well, then let's keep it simple before you totally just shit on America's pastime. Ooh, dude, 28-3.
Dude,
going on in Dallas.
Kyler's owning his hometown, boy.
Oof. We're gonna have to talk about your boys next week.
You know they're my reluctant boys.
The what?
They're my reluctant boys.
Yeah. Well, my team's 1-5 right now, so real easy way to work baseball into the conversation is, what is your favorite baseball memory? Very basic, very kindergarten, but easy to answer. Go for it.
All right, I'm going to go twofold on this. I like to do that, double down on you. My number one is when I was a kid, right? I think we all have a childhood memory to a baseball game. If you don't, I'm sorry, get a time machine to go back, because how could you not? All right. My favorite one as a child was my parents surprised me when we were in Atlanta on a family vacation. They took to an Atlanta Braves baseball game, and they beat the Cubs 18-1. This was, I'm not even going to say what year. It was in the 90s. So, yeah, great times. The other piece of it is a combination of
Oh yeah, what whiskey were you drinking then?
underage drinking, $2 beer nights, and sneaking into the paid seats from the berm seats at our hometown minor league baseball team stadium. So good times back with the wife back in the day.
Ooh, young love.
Young love matured into old love. Not sure which one's better, but yeah, that would be my favorite adult, I'll say pseudo adult pastime at baseball games is sneaking into the paid seats from the cheap seats.
Who took initiative there? Was it her idea or was it yours?
I mean, you do know my wife. Who do you think it was?
Dude, and that's the thing, because my wife does the same shit, and I'm such a pussy that I don't, like, she'll literally want to sneak down to the bottom levels, and it's not like, let's get a little closer. Like, she's like, we're going to the front row. She's literally got pictures of NBA benches because she was able to do that while we were on the second row. And like I said, I don't know, something about them. Like, they don't give a shit. Maybe it's, I don't know, you think it's a girl thing?
I don't know. It's probably a girl thing, probably a little OG thing. I don't know.
Yeah, because the second I try it, I'm getting fucking clotheslined, and I'm not. That's my luck. That's just my life.
Well, I think it's just that we're luckier. Both of our wives are prettier than us.
That's true. And one time I did like totally. She did it. Stayed in my seat. She comes back with all these great pictures and just like and I'm like, God dang, I suck. But anyway, before we into that rabbit hole,
what about you?
Oh, besides being a pussy, there's been quite a few. I've only been to a handful of games in person, so I don't think it's going to be anything in person. I got to see the Yankees, got to see A-Rod play. I think my favorite baseball memory, one has to be my first Yankees World Series that I got to experience on TV. Watching it with my dad, East Coast guy, saw them beat the Braves. Won't forget Joe Torre sitting there in the dugout, shaking water bottle, watching them finish it off. That was awesome. Second, dude, I mean, honestly, I think if you're a 90s kid, which I've said like 3 times, plus, I am putting together a couple of things that our viewers could do a drinking game of. The number of times I, acknowledge the 90s, every time I say the GOAT, and I think if you tried drinking every time I said but, that's another good one. I think the whole Sosa McGuire thing, dude, that was so awesome. And we're old enough, like, to where we remember that pretty good.
Yep.
Forget the steroids. Everyone did it. It's okay.
The corked bats.
Corked bats. That's just fun. That's just fun. No, that was an exciting thing. Back and forth, back and forth. And those are just two legends, man. I remember Sosa after 9/11 running into the outfield with the flag. I mean, it was just a cool time. And then of course you're sitting in front of the TV watching McGuire hit that last one to break the single season record. I think that's got to be up there because, I mean, first off, I thought about it, and second off, like I said, can't think of too many baseball things, but I think that's got to be up there.
All right, so I think we talked about your love for the Yankees and affinity for the Yankees, and like every wannabe baseball fan, when you walk into Lids, everybody sees those New York Yankees caps, and that's what they're grabbing. So I think it's a good transition time for us. I'm going to kick it to you first. You're walking into the local liquor store this week. What are you grabbing?
I like what you did there. I've grabbed quite a few Yankees hat over the years, but who hasn't?
Me.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah, I haven't. I have all those Yankees caps next to the Notre Dame caps I never bought.
You son of a bitch. You purposely worked that into there. Anyway, before we bring my religion into this,
religion and football are two different things, buddy.
I'm going to grab something that I have been suggested to grab quite a few times, and it's just one of those where I've been fortunate enough to run into some other bottles and grab those instead. But I think this week I'm going to give it a try. I'm actually going to go to Total Wine nearby. It's $39.99, and I'm going to get Black Ridge Special Reserve Port Barrel Finished. All right, say that name 3 times. Just going to get it because, like I said, it was suggested by a pretty good buddy who's been pretty solid. Oof, that didn't sound good either. But he's had great recommendations. And yeah, the only thing I put it off for is because you start getting port barrel finished. Are you talking rum? Are you talking, just give me the classic American oak. But as I want our viewers to do, I am broadening my mind, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. But that is most likely what I'm going in to grab this week. What about you, Dick?
Oh, I applaud your pick. I talked about my drain pour earlier this week, and that was a rum cask finish. So I'm curious to know what the port does.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it tasted like pickle juice, so I'm a little bit excited to hear how much you're going to bitch about it. But at the same time, I'm glad you're trying it, and I'm not, because I already took one for the team on that one. So if I'm looking at what I'm grabbing this week, it's hard to find. You may have to hunt for it. But I'm putting myself in someone else's shoes who may see it. And you have to buy it for the right price point. Midwinter's Night Dram is being released right now. You're going to see it on shelves. It's a High West product. We hit them up pretty hard on this podcast. But it is a solid bottle. I've had it once in my life. Would drink it day in and day out. But please, we talked about the secondary market. Do not pay secondary prices for this. Do not walk into your tiny liquor store and they got one bottle up there for $1.99. Do not buy it. Do not pay more than $100 for this bottle. But if you can find it for that price point, that 90 to 95 to 100, pick it up. Pick it up. Enjoy it. Tell us about it. Email us about it. We want to hear about your experiences.
And and speaking of email, once again, we're trying to get more feedback. My parents have already texted me, so we need more feedback than that. You can reach us at fourthdramminggoal@gmail.com. That is the number 4. Everything else is letters. THDRAMANDGOAL@gmail.com. Did I not deliver that correctly, Dick?
You delivered that solid and quick as usual.
Oof. Low. All right, that'll bring us over the goal line. In our next episode, we are going to talk several things. We're going to get back to pro football. We're going to talk good drinks. Fuck me, because I can't think of anything else, and I had a great start. Well, all right, Dick, that's going to get us over the goal line for this episode. In our next episode, we're going to talk pro football again. We're going to check up on the World Series. When it comes to Brownwater, we're going to talk our favorite recipes, specifically old fashions and so what. Some good mixers, things that you can drink for any occasion. We're going to bring back the famous segment, famous between me and you, is what is my wife bitching about after we've bought some more bottles. And we're going to get some drinks on us and have another good time.
All right. I think it's a great way to close this out there, Kurt. But I will ask you to bring back your infamous quote of the segment.
I love the way you say infamous. For some reason, I guess that was the only part that my parents enjoyed was my...
They actually listen to it?
No, not at all. I haven't spoken to my parents in 5 years, but thanks for bringing that up, Dick.
All right, Kurt. I think that was a great way for you to close us out right there. But I'll ask you to go ahead and lay it down with one of your infamous quotes to close out our podcast.
All right, I got a good one this week for those Los Angeles Dodgers that are going to the World Series, because I sure as hell ain't doing one for the Tampa Bay Rays. From the legendary Dodgers announcer Vin Scully, good is not good when better is expected. All right, my friends, to the next snap and to the next dram.
Dram on, people.